Hey, Laura J here making some chocolate pudding for Papa, and earlier today I got to go to see my uncle at Norfolk General Hospital, and his wife, who is grieving the loss of her life partner, and my uncle was there as well. And so that all went well, because when I walked in, somebody at the reception desk asked whether I had a mask, and I said I'm mask exempt, and she said, oh, okay. And so she let me pass through, and then I just carried on my merry way. I generally roughly know my way around that hospital because I've kind of grown up in and around there. I went to my first suicide awareness and prevention workshop, which is the assist certificate, when I was in grade 10, because I was taking a grade 11 home ec course. And there was an opportunity to attend a workshop, so I obviously signed up, and then I got to go, which was awesome. So it was great training, preventative training for now. So I have literally got my start in this hospital, where it seems we will be coming to an end as well. I got locked up there the first night of my imprisonment under the Mental Health Act in 2019 as well. My grandpa spent 5 weeks there in 2018 when he had a bowel obstruction that he almost died from them misinjecting the vein and got the bloodstream with his food. No, not food. He was on ice cubes for like 3 weeks. It was insane. He called it the penguin diet. Anyway, Papa was there. I was there. Holy crap. There's like the blackouting of the video so far as what I saw happen, and so I've been having trouble with the stove ever since Uncle Billy had his issues, which he's now in Simcoe General 4, which is where I went and who I went to see this afternoon. And then on my way home, I felt called to go back, and it was like 7:30 at night, so it was not yet 8 o'clock, but the doors were all locked and everything was on lockdown. So I went, and there was no one to ask me about a mask, and then at the desk on the 4th floor, the nurse asked me about a mask, and I said no, I'm exempt, and she said, even in a hospital? And I said yes. And so if not one place, then why any other? So she told me to go to the other nurse's station, which I knew was not good given the ban that is said to be on my person or legal fiction, not on me, the woman that maneuvers this personage, which is not a personage. This is real. There are implied realities that are layered on top of me that have been perceived to be me but are not the same nor equivalent, because this is mightiest. The hand that uses the pen that signs the signature, which is the sign at you are. Sign at you are, that's your energy signature. And so if you want to change your life, change your energetic signature. Did you hear it chime in? All right, we're gonna bake a tender flake pie crust. There's a second one in there, so it's heavier than I was expecting. Forgot about that. Oh, in fact, it's great to be back home where things are predictable until there is something else. There will always be something else, because that's how active choice point theory works. That is in my book. If you are not familiar with Fully Committed, The Sacred Sojourn of Now, I would highly recommend it. I started standing as a woman in my private capacity with all rights reserved at all times after my person was summoned April 2021, where I learned that it was my person who had the charge, not me. When I was locked up under the Mental Health Act, it was my person, not me. When we use our health insurance card, OHIP card, for Ontarians, we are implied to be Ontarians, which is under the Corporation of Ontario, which is also under the corporate umbrella of Canada. And then within the private sector of the public domain, you have the corporations such as the hospital, which is under the jurisdiction of the municipality plus the provincial government, plus the federal government, because it's boxes on top of boxes on top of boxes. And here's where we have to start to see that man or woman is actually above the government, because it was created in order to serve us, which is why those who work on its behalf, becoming half of it, the corpse that orates, sometimes when you get flowing, your nose starts going too. So if ever that happens to you in this afraid of the slightest bodily movement type of culture, which is the cult you are part of, recognize the insanity and ask yourself, what would we have done before COVID, before you react to having a cold or a flu or ascension symptoms, whatever you want to call that, which is the upgrading of the physical based on the mental, spiritual, and emotional aspects of ourselves. They all work together, and if we are not working in harmony within our own selves, how can we possibly expect that which we are creating to be in harmony either? I'm making a chocolate pie for the first time, and I've got whipped toppings too. Alright, so, fantastic. Serve well 2 times a 5-minute period. I wonder if I could just make, I bet a whole one of these will go into that, but then he'll have a spare one plus the cake one. That's a good option. For the first time you make something, just use the whole thing on one and then see how it turns out. What fun! Okay, so what is super exciting about today is that I have names to make claims, because now I can find out who is actually named on the order that makes it so that I can't do that which I claimed the right to do. Because if we take it back at the corporate level, then it automatically transcends up to the governmental levels. It's when we let all of these corporations win that we then become part of perpetuating the problem. Because by letting the corporations think they are above what we are all, which is men and women, trying to live lives here in harmony with one another, if somebody is going to prevent our ability to do that, they're causing us harm, loss, and participating in fraud in order to do it. And that is not okay, nor is it respectable from my perspective. So if you want to make a counterclaim the other way, by all means do. But what I know to be true is that I will stand for you. Even if you're too afraid to stand for yourself, I will stand for me. And by default, I will stand for you too, and the same is true when you do too. But it's not the big things. It's not taking a stance, which is all of that public statusing that we end up doing when we're in public. We need to present ourselves to be a certain way in order to be accepted or to be replayed in the game because it was just so quirky that you want to watch it again and again and again and again and again and again and again. And we get so excited because that's what chemicals do. And so we're chasing these highs all the time, forgetting that we are the chemical pharmacy we always have access to. We just have to turn it on within our own selves. And we have to recognize how our emotions and our feelings, which are not one and the same, though they are directly connected, and the connection, therefore, being our thinking. Because stinking thinking creates pretty crappy pie. If ever you're hurting, my grandma used to say, whenever you're hurting, don't bake anything, because it totally goes into the food. And she's so true in that. When you feel like crap, everything you make just somehow doesn't taste the way it did when it was made with love, because it's like, I didn't have anything extra but the ingredients to put into it, so I'm sorry, it's the best that I could do, and I wish you would have made it for me. You know? She did so much for us, my Grandma Donna. I'm so grateful. I'm so, so, so incredibly grateful to her for so many things. And there's a lot that I have not shared about that whole situation. I have not really shared a tremendous amount about my grandma since she passed in 2020, January 20, well, we did one aspect January 2020, the other aspect in April. But what's important. Oh my gosh, Grandpa's gonna be so happy. He wanted a chocolate cake pie, and I didn't have. Well, I went into the superstore, but they had a generator die or something. I don't know. I have theories on all of that, but I'll leave those out because there are all kinds of conspiracies, and it's all about which one we're gonna choose to eat from, right? Wow. Papa's gonna be so happy. But anyway, Grandma did so much. Grandma did so much for all of us, and I haven't hardly talked about her in life or death since she left. And it seems like such a travesty because she was literally my best friend. Like my entire life. Or her entire life of mine. And then the last few months, she got stuck in the dungeon program, which Archaics talks about. And I've just discovered his work, so I'm learning more. But seriously, my grandma brought so much to my life, and I'm so grateful for her. And I'm grateful to all of my relatives and ancestors and those of my lineage physically, and then also soulfully. And then I do believe that it is time for us to find our tribe. And I would love for Peaceful Inner Warriors United to be the tribe that you find. So if this has resonated for you today, please go to my website, ljeh.ca, and you will be able to sign up for a newsletter where I will share updates as and when I can. And I also have a few exciting opportunities coming up in the meantime too. So until the next time, until then, I wish you well, and I look forward to contesting this ban so that I can see my clan when required.